All right, so now that we have all the reveals for all the relics, it's time to go over my plan. What relics I'm taking, what regions I'm taking, how has anything changed since my last video. I've got a lot of questions asking, so I figured I'd make a follow-up one since we have pretty much all the information that we're going to get, aside from the task list, unless there's something that they're going to reveal later on. But as of right now, I think my decisions are pretty set in stone. In the last video, I talked about how I was going to go Kandarin into Taranwin into Wilderness. I've changed that to be Kandarin into Wilderness into Taranwin. And the reason why is because they revealed how the pacts work and what tasks you have to do for certain pacts points to unlock. And it just makes more sense to go Wilderness before Taranwin. The main reason I'm going Wilderness over Taranwin is simply because of this one item. The Shadow Flame Quadrant. It is the most disgusting broken item in the video game, and it's going to make every other DPS in the game look irrelevant. And the way to get this is obviously Kandarin, but you need 93 Slayer. And Slayer training is best done in the Wilderness because it has great Slayer tasks. It has a Wilderness Slayer Cave, and that gets us this, and that puts us online. Without this, we are offline DPS-wise. Any DPS we do without this weapon is so bad in comparison that you are just wasting valuable time. And that is the main reason why I want to go Wilderness second and then Taranwin last. And another reason why is because we could optimize our pats so we could have full prayer pen for Taranwin, which we might not have had otherwise. But yeah, I'll go into the demonic packs and how I'm picking them later. But for now, let's go over the relics. So the relics, again, we have these three: Endless Harvest, Barbarian Gathering, Abundance. I'm going for Dragon Rush. Abundance is just a must take. Right, but that's for dragon rushing. So let's say, I'll try to cover different playstyles. So let's say you're somebody who wants to get dragon, really enjoys the game, and want to have the maximum amount of fun. You don't plan on playing much past dragon, but you just want to maximize fun. Endless Harvest might be more efficient if you don't care about how long it takes to get dragon, but Abundance will be maximum fun. For everyone else, I would say Endless Harvest is a really, really good pick for those that can't actively play all day. Like if you have a job or anything, like even just like, let's say you have a job, you have to leave for work in the morning. You just wake up in the morning, log in, click a fishing spot, go to work, 30 minutes of training. You're on your lunch break, you go in your phone, click on Endless Harvest, 30 minutes of fishing. So you keep yourself logged in. You go home, you want to go to the gym, click a fishing spot. 30 minutes of fishing. Like it's insane value, and it's double XP for everything. So it's just not like this is not just like a pure AFK relic. If you are actively playing, this is still good. It's just you could also AFK with it. Like if this didn't exist, the AFK part, I would still pick Endless Harvest or Barbarian Gathering for probably half the scenarios. That's how good this is. I would honestly almost never suggest anyone picking Barbarian Gathering. I just don't think it's a fun. I don't think it's fun. I don't think it's even strong. People are like, oh yeah, well, Endless Harvest is for AFKing. I want to actively play. I want to play Barbarian Gathering. Even if you're actively playing, most scenarios, not all of them, most scenarios, most combination builds, you will get more value out of Endless Harvest than you will Barbarian Gathering, even if you are actively playing. So I've set up Dragon Rushing, and I'm going to log out on the account I'm Dragon Rushing on. So I'm going to play on Mazhar. I'm going to Dragon Rush on it, and I'm just immediately after it hits 60k, I'm gone. I'm logging out of that account. But day one, I will also be logging in on my alt account, Sully Block, and I will be AFKing as much as I possibly can, and that account will be capping most likely. So I'll actually try to complete all tasks on that account because I thought about it, and I was like, I love leagues. I kind of don't want my fun for leagues to end in a week. So I'm going to play on an alt, sort of just take it slow, get my competing in early on, and then just really enjoy the league for what it is. So I think that account, I'm going Endless Harvest. Just no brainer. I'm not going to be actively playing it as much. I'm just going to be chilling, and this is great value. All right, so now for the tier 2s, everyone knows my opinion on this, and it has not changed. I'm going Woodsman. Again, the 200 mil fletching super early on, super great for pushing points. Very, very important for a Dragon Rush. The fire making being passive is not negligible. Fire making is not a fast skill on here unless you're going Zaya, where you have to do fire making tasks for Winter Hot anyway. 100% success for all hunter actions, double XP, double loot. This is not negligible. Early on, this is going to be like 3x hunter XP. If you consider how many times you fill the trap, how long it takes for traps to get filled, early on, it's going to feel like 3x XP rates. Later on, when you have obviously higher chance of catching anything you tried to catch, it's going to be closer to that 2x, which is still amazing. Hunter becomes a skill that is worth training for 50 mil. Otherwise, it's not. Whistle charges, negligible. Will save you a few minutes in the entire league. Not a big deal. Friendly Forager, I feel like I want to PVM. I want to just get my pots ready ASAP and do as little playing as possible and just PVM. Oh, Friendly Forager, why not? But not efficient by any means. On my AFK slow cap account, I will be going hotfoot because why not? I will be getting all my fishing done AFK, so I'll get it in cooking, which will save me 3 hours, not much. The ore that will be smelted is kind of useless, so that really doesn't mean anything. But the main reason why is because I will get 50 mil agility for free, and I have to train agility if I want to complete all tasks. So for that, it has value. Hotfoot has value for anyone that's going for cap. It just solves agility extremely hard, and that's all you really need. So yeah, Dragon Rush, Woodsman, no-brainer. Hotfoot, cappers, no-brainer. AFK, even if I was AFK, I'd probably pick Woodsman, I'm going to be honest. But PVMers could pick Friendly Forager if they want. They don't care about skills at all, and they'll just slowly get tier 8. Now, tier 3. This is where we had no information before. We only had Evil Eye. I really liked Evil Eye. Evil Eye is great, but I am leaning Map of Alacrity. I think Map of Alacrity is pretty damn good. It solves a lot of things for the regions I'm going for, which is KWT. So if you go here, there is a bunch of stuff. There's a bunch of teleports here that are kind of speculation. I'll kind of be disappointed if a lot of these don't work. For example, this one. This is not really an agility obstacle. It's a style that has no level requirement. But for some reason, the wiki marks it as a potential one that brings you directly to a farming patch, which is great. Early on, when you want to do some tree runs, there's a tree patch over here somewhere. I don't even remember. Right here. I think this is a patch. Again, you got to teleport straight to it. That's kind of great. I'm not gonna lie. Like I will enjoy using that. I like the fact that there is a bank right here, so you have a bank that you can teleport to as well. There's a fairy ring not too far by here as well. But the main reason I want to go map, the absolute main reason, is the wilderness. It doesn't actually show it here. I have to scroll down, right? So the Wilderness Slayer cave. Well, this is one that's really good too. This brings you to the Wilderness Slayer dungeon, which is in Deep Wildy. And that puts you very, very close to Laren's chest, which is kind of nice. So that closes a gap that's very hard to reach otherwise. And the absolute main thing is this cave is absolutely cracked for this cave. This cave is kind of annoying to get to otherwise. Otherwise, you have to run from Corp, or you have to make a burning amulet, which I probably would have made, and run a little bit. But this gets you to these Slayer creatures. I think these are jellies over here, smoke devils over here, Necreals over here, Abbey Demons over here. There's something else over here that it's a Slayer monster that we'll probably kill over here. But it closes the gap on a lot of stuff, and we're going to be doing a lot of Slayer, especially early on, especially for that trident that we talked about. I know there's clue steps over here that would bring you next to, and here there's just a lot of use cases that I feel like what's going to happen is people are going to realize like, oh, there's a little meta that you can pull off only because you have Map of Alacrity, and without it, you're cooked. Like even early on, like I could go use this to get the red shins, and red shins are really annoying to get to otherwise. I think the walk is pretty far otherwise. Right here are some more teleports that are clue related that are really helpful here as well. I think there's an elite task over here, you know. Ogres are a potentially assignable task, and it just brings you directly to ogres. The list could go on, but the implications are simple. Oh, this is another one. I can't go over this. I can't like ignore this one. There's this that potentially, it's RNG whether or not this is going to put you over here or that side, but right next to a nature altar, great. There's also one, I don't know if I could show it, in the Cosmic Plains in Xenaris. Here, right? Put you next to this Cosmic Altar. So if there's a task like Mooncraft 1000, runes. Like you can do that with this and it will save time. And I don't think Evil Eye will save as much time. The main use case for Evil Eye is moons. It puts you to each moon's teleport individually, which is really nice, but you will only be killing 30 moons if you're going for Dragon Rush in particular. And if you're not going for Dragon Rush in particular, I still think it's not that big of a deal. Plus, there's this combat achievement to do 30 Peerless Moons in one trip without leaving. And I really fear Evil Eye will just fuck it up, and then you're just shit out of luck. So I'm going map alacrity. All right, so that brings us to tier 4s, and obviously I was conniving clues because that was the only option I was given at the time. And I am heavy on transmutation, but before I go over why, let me go over the other option, which is Butler's Bell. Butler's Bell is very good if you're going for cap. It solves Herblore hard for people that are going for cap. Essentially, you get 1 mil XP a day. So over the course of 50 days, you'll get 50 mil XP. So if you're playing the entire thing, this will just solve Herblore for you. If you're racing, it solves like 20 mil of your Herblore, and then you can use the unfinished potions instead of processing it with the Butler to get 50 mil. Essentially, this is a cap relic, in my opinion. If you're not capping, you might think, oh, this still gets me free Herblore XP, and if I over 2 months, this will get me a lot of XP. It's still only gonna get you 50 mil Herblore value. Like if you're going Woodsman, fletching is already free. You're already getting 200 mil. You don't need any more. Crafting and smithing are already solved with Tehran win, and cooking you can one-tick Tehran ones and literally get 50 mil in 3 hours. That being said, my ult, it's going Butler's Bell. It's going to get 50 mil Herblore, fully AFK over the course of 2 months, and I will just not have to worry about that skill, which is great. So now let's go to the fun one, which is transmutation, which I have to go here to show because it doesn't really give much information. Actually, it probably does on the actual page, huh? Yeah, it does on the actual page. Okay, I could say here. But it solves a bunch of pain points for Dragon Rush. And even non-Dragon Rush, I think this is the most fun pick. Like, if you're playing for fun, transmutation is hella fun. For Dragonhide, for example, this is last year's list. If I was to search Dragonhide, I would see, if I spelled it correctly, equip a full black Dragonhide set, equip a full blue Dragonhide set, full green Dragonhide set, full red Dragonhide set. What else is there? Scrape some blue Dragonhide. I think you'd actually have to kill blue dragons for that one. Craft 30 blue Dragonhide bodies. What else is there? I think there's Dragonhide shield and another Dragonhide shield. Right, so those are old general tasks, right? And what's so nice about transmutation is you can literally kill cows. Early on, we can kill cows. We get greater crafting up in Varlamore with no combat, well, no serious combat, kill cows for cowhide, transmute them up to green, blue, red, black d'hide, and do all of those tasks early on when they're worth so many points. When those points are worth so much pushing your relics, because you're not black Dragonhide's 80 points. Like, that's pretty juice. And if you pair that with abundance, like that's 74 crafting that you need. Blue Dragonhide, 30 blue Dragonhide bodies are a task. Usually this takes a while to get. 90 blue Dragonhide is not easy to get. 90 cowhide's pretty easy to get though, right? Because that's just 90 cows. And what are the level for that? We just need 61 crafting. Again, you can do that so early on in our early regions, and that'll be very helpful. Now, runes, pure essence is not something that is easy or free to come by. Kind of is passively, but if you want to get some early tasks like craft X amount of runes, craft cosmic runes, craft nature runes, pure essence is kind of a bitch to get. You can transmute air runes into pure essence, which is great. But what's really nice is I'm going to be going magic route personally, and getting wrath runes is kind of a bitch. But you can just transmute soul runes into wrath runes, and it just solves it. You'll just have infinite wrath runes because you can buy soul runes and then make them all into wrath runes. This is great for prayer, but you're not really ever going to use this. For gems, this is not that much value, but you can get like an early Dragonstone early on, which you don't really need because you're going to make it Onyx pretty early on relatively. But what's really nice is you get red topaz in high abundance. You can pretty much just buy this from shops, and a bunch of things give gems, and you can just turn them into topazes, and those are slaughters. Otherwise, kind of annoying to get. And I think trade six are useful for a task or two, but not too much value there. What's really nice, and I think people underestimate this, is Ultra Compost is not accessible by any reasonable means in our regions because we don't have volcanic mine. Sorry, not, what is that called? Fossil Island to mine the volcanic ash. So this is great. Getting ultra compost is great. It will make it so that we have a lot more yield from our early herbs, which you're going to have to do some early farming, unfortunately. All right, but now here's the main selling point for me, seeds. Well, obviously these seeds are not that useful. We don't have a really good access to hardwood seeds. Fruit tree seeds, herb seeds, and allotments and flower seeds for whatever secondaries you need to make. This is amazing, especially with Woodsman. So Woodsman gives us a random herb seed and it gives us a random tree seed. I don't know whether there's specifications of whether or not it's just these tree seeds or if it's fruit tree seeds, and hardwood tree seeds. We haven't had clarification, but either way, even if it's just tree seeds, this is great. My biggest concern with Woodsman is we're just going to get a bunch of dog shit seeds. What this means is we get to plant magic seeds pretty much 24/7 in all our farming spots, which is crazy value. That's like less than 2 hours per, and we pretty much will have infinite magic seeds now because of this, which is great. And we'll also have exactly, like, let's say you are at a certain farming level, you can't reach this, you can just transmute the seed that you need. Same thing for herblore. If you want to train herblore, and you want Guam specifically because you have no herblore level, you can transmute Guam seeds. Irrit seeds are probably our best for training herblore early on. You just transmute it. It doesn't matter what other shit seed you roll. You could just transmute Irrit seeds in particular, which is great. Great value out of seeds. Really like it for seeds. Now logs, this is a little understated as well. Again, we're going back to the task list. This is going to be so nice. So let's go to Fletch tasks, right? I have 49 searches for Fletch. Let me see. Willow Shortbow. I guess you can just cut a Willow Shortbow. It's not that deep, but it's really nice for like this task. Fletch 200 magic longbows. This is not a task that's worth woodcutting. It's not worth woodcutting 200 magic longbows early on. But what's really nice is we're going to be fletching super early with our woodsman. We'll be low woodcutting. I expect to be like 30 woodcutting or like something really low, whatever that lily pad quest gives. And I will be able to get my regular logs to turn into magic logs to do this 80-point task. Magic shield, I'll be able to do this 80-point task. I would not be able to do this task otherwise until way later, until I got a magic log drop for it to be worth it. You know, that is insane value. Up a U short bow. Again, I wouldn't have access to a U bow early on. Burn 100 U logs. Would not have access to that early on. I think you get where I'm going with this. It has a lot of value for early game points. It is so good. Pyro logs, unless you're in Mauritania, this doesn't have much value. For Mauritania, this is crazy value because redwood pyro logs are a bitch to get if you're not Zaya as well. And if you're picking Mauritania and Zaya, you hate yourself. But yeah, there's a task to get zealots, and this is really nice for that. That doesn't matter for me though. Ores doesn't really prove much use. People seem to think this is a big deal. It's not. This is not how you want to train your smithing. Ores doesn't really do anything either. But this is the big one. This is one of the big reasons I'm picking transmutation. It just turns prayer into a free skill, especially early on. Like as soon as you hit tier 4, you can hit whatever prayer level you want. It's going to be so free. Pair that with when you get wilderness unlocked. If you go to the boneyard and you take out a looting bag, you could just go and just loot every bone you see, get a full inventory and full looting bag, bank it, do it again, note them all, continue about your day, and transmute them all into superior dragon bones. Or Dagonoth bones, because you need 70 prayer to use superior dragon bones, but you get that point. This makes early prayer tasks a joke. This last one is actually also very understated because raw fish is something that drops a lot from Laren chests, and the best way to train cooking is Karambwans. Now, this is something that I have to clarify now. As far as I know now, this information has not been revealed at this point. As far as I know now, you cannot buy noted items from shops. Banking raw Karambwans is not feasible from that shop in Taibawanai because you have to buy a full inventory, bank it, go back, do it again. And again, you can just fish, you can cook anything you want, but one tick Karambwans takes the cake. It makes it a 50 mil skill worth doing. It's a lot of time save here. But yeah, transmutation, I think it's a very, very, very strong pick for rushing for dragon. I think it's the pick for rushing for dragon. If I was capping, I'd probably pick Butler's Bell. If I wanted to play for fun, I'd probably pick transmutation. Clues is actually not bad. I think if you have a certain combination where the transmutation benefits are not that high for you, conniving clues is very, very valuable. But I think transmutation value is just too good for what it is, and it's also very fun. All right, that brings us to tier 5. There's Nature's Accord, Larcenist, and Soul Harvest. In my opinion, Soul Harvest is a capping relic. If you are capping and you want 50 mil rune crafting, this is essentially your only fucking way to do it without wanting to hate yourself. You know, like, you have to pick Soul Harvest essentially if you're capping because it sucks otherwise. Nature's Accord and Larcenist, I think Larcenist just wins. Nature's Accord, essentially, with abundance and with transmutation, you have all the seeds you need for farming always. The real benefit for Nature's Accord is Fairy's Flight. Like, if Fairy's Flight didn't exist, I would consider this relic completely fucking dead in the water. But Larcenist is a no-brainer for Torontoan. Crafting solved, smithing solved, the thieving solved. Within 4 hours, 3 hours of thieving, like an hour of crafting, not even. I think it's way less. You will get 50 million all 3 skills. It's just gigantic value for Torontoan. And again, this has been clarified that it includes clue scrolls. This was a misconception. It was a misconception because they wrote the wrong thing on here. Husky confirmed pretty early on that it does work for clue scrolls. And this is essentially heavy devalue to the conniving clues relic because the idea is you just thieve for a bunch of clues. And because you get to drop the shit steps, you don't have to worry about the clue contracts that teleport you to the shitty clue steps. You could just drop them, you know? I love Larcenist. I think this is a must pick for me. I think this is a must pick for anyone that's going for just dragon. This is a maximum fun relic. Tier 6, this was the biggest letdown of the century, but honestly not a letdown because I really want to pick Killing Spree. Grimoire, dog shit, don't pick this. If you want to do more damage, just pick Killing Spree because you can just pick whatever you want to kill as Slayer task anyway, because the boss Slayer is unlocked with this. Eternal Sustenance, you do not need this. Go build water into your route in some way, which you can do and still not sacrifice DPS, and this becomes completely useless. Killing Spree is the only real pick here. For Dragon Rush, for fun, for anyone, I would heavily suggest picking Killing Spree unless you're just trolling on your packs and you have no sustain. Yeah, and also, like I talked about this earlier, 93 Slayer is very, very important because we do not come online until that Shadow Flame quadrant comes into the game. And Killing Spree is our bread and butter. You got this. Like, we will be Slayer ringing to Neve. We're going to assign ourselves a task that is in the Wilderness Slayer Cave. We're going to map of Alacrity directly into the Slayer Cave. We're going to destroy that task with our broken packs, clearing back and repeat, and it's going to be very, very fast. Something I want to clarify, I really thought we were going to get noted buying in some way and form. If you remember, if you bought like feathers from feather packs, they would become unpacked. If you bought broad arrowheads, they would become unpacked automatically, right? And the reason why I said wait till tier 6 before fletching to 200 mil was because it's not worth the shop time to buy them. It's not worth the shop time to buy Addy arrow tips and rune arrow tips from the Catherby store. However, if you have to buy 50 at a time, Addy arrow tips are better in every way than broad arrow tips. They are cheaper. They can be sold back, which even though it's not worth being sold back, and they're the exact same XP. So I just want to mention that because I suggested waiting till Killing Spree fletching before. If we don't get auto unpack, don't. If you get auto unpack, I think it's worth biting your tongue and waiting until Killing Spree is unlocked. All right, now the new relic, Reloaded versus Flow State. In my opinion, and I think a lot of people that think this is good don't understand how this actually works. This is completely a noob trap. It is a dog piss. So let's assume you picked my relics up until this point, right? Let's assume you did, right? Let's look at all of the skills one by one. Mining. You mine at 2 ticks. Guess what speed you mine main game right now? 3 ticks. So this makes it 1.5 times faster, right? If you really go into Endless Harvest, you get double XP. So 3 tick mining is the same as 1.5 tick mining. And this is 2-tick mining. Already worse. Woodcutting. Woodcutting in the game is 4-tick. This makes it 2-tick. However, you can 2-tick woodcut with reloaded by just AFKing as well. So it's because it's 4-tick, 2 XSP, it's the equivalent of 2-tick. But even better is if you manually 2-tick woodcut, this becomes a 1-tick woodcutting action versus a 2-tick woodcutting action. Again, this is slower. Fishing. However, you could 3-tick wood fish with this, and that makes a 1.5 tick. So this is slower. 1-tick cooking with karambons is possible. This is 2-tick. Again, worse. Fire making, woodsman makes 0 time because you just woodcut and get fire making done at the same time. Again, useless. Offering bones of the prayer altar is 2-tick now. Guess what? You can 1-tick bones of the altar. Useless. Fletching, useless. We have woodsman. Smelting and crafting, useless because we're just using the crystal shard method to get 50 melting and crafting. No point in it. Farming is 2-tick. Cool. You pick herbs a little faster, man. You can still pick them pretty fast if you do the double harvest method. Magic, you don't need to transmute any faster. You will get 200 mil magic. It's useless. Mini games, Wintertod, Temperos, I'm not going. Stealing valuables, sure. You get your 2-tick stealing valuables. Otherwise, everything else here is dog shit. Reloaded into enhanced harvest wins in every single way. Every single way. Whether or not you're AFKing, whether or not you're not AFKing, I would not pick flow state. However, I will mention this because I did say BG plus reload endless harvest could be good value. I would suggest going endless harvest into flow state if you really wanted to instead. Because right now I'm weighing endless harvest versus flow state, but if you already have endless harvest plus flow state, in my opinion, clears endless harvest plus barbarian gathering. Again, barbarian gathering stocks even more down, for me at least. And people keep mentioning the agility XP from barbarian gathering. It is not a lot of XP. It is not good XP. It's very negligible. If you are going for 50 mil all, it doesn't solve agility. It solves 15 mil out of 50 mil agility. You have to take half anyway. If you want to go for cap, be efficient about it. And if that's the case, then what are you doing? Why would you even care about barbarian gathering XP? You know, not a fan. Now this one, tier 8, I cannot believe this is a relic. This is just so shit. Don't pick this. I'll explain why. There's almost no use cases for this. Minion, Flask of Fervor. I would say I like both of these. I actually like both of these. And obviously, RDPS is going to be so good that the Evil Eye into Flask of Fervor method is kind of dead in the water. So I think I'm definitely going Minion. I like the auto loot, especially with transmutation. I could just go and kill. Like I could go to monkeys for like 2 minutes and kill 1 billion of them, and then have it bank all the bones, and then I transmute the multiple superior dragon bones and get 50 mil prayer, right? Obviously I won't do that. I'll just get it passively. But that's something I could just do if I wanted to push 50 mil prayer, which is nice. But also, this is around 6.6 DPS. Obviously, this doesn't have 100% accuracy like Thralls do, so it's a bit less. But for the most part, you'll probably be averaging around 60 DPS on most things you kill. So Minion is pretty great DPS. Flask of Fervor comes around to like best case with maximum DPS 3 DPS. It's only 180 damage per explosion, and you'll at best case scenario be exploding like every minute if your DPS is high enough. However, what's nice about this is there's a lot of utility in burst damage. For example, Inferno, a bunch of monsters grouped up together that only happen specific intervals. Raids, Flask of Fervor in the Nether Room sounds pretty gas. You know, there's utility for this. I'm not gonna say you're done for picking this. Broja, if you're like a little newbie or two, if you're like doing the 6 Jat challenge and you take like a 70 and you're too panicky to eat your food up, Flask of Fervor to full health and immunity for 2.46 seconds is pretty good. If it makes a difference between being able to do a task that you otherwise would not, full power to you. Flask of Fervor is fine, but I'm personally going to pick Minion. This is a very strong pick. Flask of Fervor is an okay pick. Executioner, don't pick this. I think you're trolling if you pick this. And I'm going to explain my reasoning for why I'm going Kandarin, Wilderness, Torontoan. The reason why I'm pushing Torontoan off is because I want to abuse Prayer Pen for it. And Wilderness is also very good for Slayer early on, so I'm going to abuse Wilderness for Slayer. I'm not going to go into the specifics of what tasks will unlock what packs, but I'll give you a very, very good estimate of the route I'm going. So here is where I'm starting. I'm going to immediately rush into the crossbow build. This is probably where I'm going to complete Fire Caves, Amoxalatl, Echo first kill, and then I'm immediately going to go. And my goal is to be around, this is like Kandarin region-ish here, right? Kandarin, Valinor, Karamja unlocked. My goal is by the time I have Wilderness unlocked, I have this and tier 6. So I'm going to be putting off combat by quite a bit, if you can't tell. To only have this unlocked, 15 fact points by tier 6 is not a lot. So I'm going to be focusing heavily on skilling. But my goal is to get this relic, which makes it so that when you throw a throw weapon, it throws at an additional target. So if you throw a black chin, you're actually throwing 2 black chins. That doesn't mean you hit 18 targets instead of 9. That means you hit the 9 targets twice. So it's essentially double DPS, which is cracked. The reason I'm running this early on is to get my Fire Cape and my Amoxalatl kills, Echo kill for the points that get me here. And the reason, the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to be doing Fire Cape and Amoxalatl with the Sunlight Hunter crossbow, which another win for Woodsman because that's a fletching requirement. Once I hit 93 Slayer, I'm going to go ahead and level this way into this tree. And I'm going to immediately go for Thermi Stick because Thermi Stick is disgustingly overpowered. I cannot emphasize enough. The game starts when you get this weapon. The DPS goes crazy. Torontoan and whatever tasks I get from the 93 Slayer push me all the way up to here. Echo CG kill, Volcano kill, whatever. I will get 100 Prayer Pen. Or by the time I get my Echo Unlift Orb and kill Echo Unlift once, I'll be able to farm Echo Unlift with 100% Prayer Pen, a 1-tick staff in the CG. It will be so insanely fast. It should be like a minute kill per Echo Unlift. After I get done with CG, I'm going to take this 100% Prayer Pen and use it at Demonics. I'm going to use it at Doom because Prayer Pen is actually useful for Doom as well, for the grubs. And I'm going to do all the tasks related to that. I'll probably try to get my Confliction Gauntlets at that point too, because Confliction Gauntlets are huge for this build, DPS-wise. And once I have Demonics done, Doom done, CG done, I do a reset. And then I spec into the final build, doing a lot of what we had before, but we're just taking off the Prayer Pen this time because we don't need it anymore. The idea is we Prayer Pen it up once, and then we forget about it, right? And then we just don't need it anymore. So then we just take the relics that we had for our DPS before. This is the majority of our DPS. Like the majority of our DPS is right here. This tree is like, sorry, you have to have this as well. This right here is the majority of our DPS. If you stop us at 12 pack points with the Shadow Flame Trident, Quadrant, whatever, we're like 85% of max DPS. It is that fucking strong. I'm going to put some points in these runes over here. I'm going to unlock Fire for some potential utility because this is like an AoE mage. I can imagine at the start of Colosseum, at the start of Inferno for the Nibblers, this has some value. It's not very great value, but it is something. This is what our tree looks like at 39 points. At this point, you're pretty much max build. I don't know what I'm going to do with the last point. I'll probably just throw into Prayer Pen at this point because why the fuck not? If I want to go back to Doom, having just a bit of a Prayer Pen is all you need to kill the grubs that spawn through prayer. Otherwise, it's like annoying. But what's really nice is this build solves everything. Air is your main DPS. You want to heal, throw a Water Surge. You'll heal for 60% of your damage. And this is instead of eating a shark, you throw a Water Surge. That's why I think that Sustenance Relic sucks. Instead of eating a shark, throw a Water Surge. It'll achieve more than the shark would heal. Fire for potential AoE situations. I can think of like tagging Slayer monsters as another reason because it bounces up to 2 targets. So it's like a Venator bow for mage. It's low DPS compared to AR, but it is like a Venator bow. It's good for grouping things up. And if you have a minion, you can group monsters up and the minions start DPSing it as well. And the reason I go this tree is because our DPS on everything with this build is great, but melee is pretty much the only solution for Soul. So we go this route for a 3-tick whip, and we go this with the prayer. It says melee strength is increased by 50% of your worn prayer bonus. This is a prayer air build, so you're going to be wearing prayer bonus anyway. You can essentially just put a whip on and just start doing great whip DPS. I think it's worth doing a crystal switch with the crystal blessing, but it's pretty strong either way. This solves all the combat in our regions in KTW. You'll be killing everything extremely fast. There's almost no real pain points. You're going to be very, very strong. I truly think anyone that's not going air build is just uninformed with how good it is. It makes everything else look inconsequential and dog shit in comparison. The way it works is the more prayers you're praying, it has a bit of components. So your prayer bonus, this is what you're going to be wearing. This is like a bisque gear, which is kind of funny for our regions. But essentially the way it works is it takes your prayer bonus, times it by 2, and that's your percent chance to max hit. So if you have 50 prayer bonus, you have a 100% chance if you hit to max hit, which is why we go heavy into accuracy in our packs, which I have to still fill out. But the idea is you get as much prayer bonus as you can, and this will the quadrant converts everything into the type of style that you use. So we're always going to be using air because that's where the prayer benefits. And whatever amount of prayers you have activated also increase your damage by a certain percent. So it's actually not worth Mystic Mighting. It's actually better to use 5% strength, attack, and defense, which is kind of funny. 2 DPS on Zuck. 30.6 second kill. Your average, you will hit 70% of the time. And the 70% of the time you will hit 107. Now, granted, this isn't 2 hit spots, but you will still hit 107. Some other examples, Chaos, Elemental. You'll probably be done with this boss by then, but like 52 DPS. King Black Dragon. 52 DPS. 6.4 second kills. Demonic Gorilla. Let's say you want to go back and get your Demonic Gorilla kill. Demonic Gorilla kill. 53 DPS. Let's try Doom. 26 DPS because you're 59% accuracy. But if you get to the car phase, you're 100% accuracy. So you're like 55 DPS again. Let's try the Manticores inside the Coliseum. 38 DPS. You will kill it in 8.5 seconds. Like, it's insane. If you're worried about like the Jad challenge for the 6 Jads, like, what is it called? Jal Talk Jad? 8.5 second kills. It's a complete joke. Although I think the special challenge doesn't have elemental weakness, so I think it's a lot worse. But it's still good. A lot worse still means pretty good. Now, obviously, we're not going to have all that gear, so I'm going to take a bunch of it off. But you should have clue gear. Your goal should be to get your clue gear before you actually care about DPSing. And especially since we're doing combat so late, it should be fine. But even in this gear, right? If you want to go to Inferno after getting the quadrant, you could literally off the Crystal Blessing and investment robes. This gear alone, without like the Vernix and the Ring of the Gods and all that shit, still 27 DPS on Zuck, 45 seconds to kill him. Like to get 1 KC, that's crazy. You know, obviously you should try to prioritize your DPS gear and then work your way towards farming these. But you get my point. Before this, you are so weak in comparison that, like, let me put this on. Let me put a trident on right there. That's probably pretty close to what you would have. If you wanted to kill Zuck with your 1-chick trident, 9 DPS. You get this, you're at 27 DPS. It's insane. It's insane. The game begins once you get this weapon. 2 locations you don't want to mage. That is Soul Heredit, 7.5 DPS. Not very great. And Vardorvis, 22 DPS. Now with Super Combat, you're at 25 DPS at Vardorvis, which is just slightly better. So even here, mage is pretty damn close. But if you go to Soul Heredit, it's not a question. This is 7.5 DPS. This is 24 DPS. So this is why we go that melee route as well, because it rounds it out pretty nicely. You essentially solve everything. You air spell everything except for Soul and Vardorvis. You melee those two. If you need to heal, you throw a water spell. You need to do AoE damage, throw a fire spell, and combat solved. But yeah, I think that covers all the ground I wanted to cover. You know my regions, you know what relics I'm picking, you know what packs I'm picking, you know what resets I'm doing. I think that's all the information I have to really share. So I will be live streaming leagues when it comes out. But if you don't have a chance to watch it because you're going to be watching someone else or you're going to be busy playing, I will be making videos as well during the entire thing. And hopefully I place... My goal is obviously to get rank 1 for Dragon, but if I get top 5, I will consider it a not too big of a failure. So I'll be happy with top 5. But yeah, that's it. See you guys soon.